Recording in progress.
So welcome everyone. This is our strength and conditioning class. We meet Wednesdays at 2 o'clock. Last time I saw you folks, I was in Mammoth Lakes. About an hour after I saw you folks in this class, I went and went to go play beach volleyball with my team. So some of you have heard this if you're with me in the last few classes, but I'm gonna go play beach volleyball, and I strained my calf muscle. So about a week ago, I strained my calf muscle right after this class last week, and yeah, it wasn't pretty. I was on crutches for a few days. I wasn't feeling too great. I'm able to walk a little bit now with taking a little bit of support off my leg, but yeah. So with that being said, listen to your body when you work out. Make sure that you have plenty of fluids to hydrate, to recover. We just want to make sure that no injuries happen. What I should have done that day after our class last week is probably just drink water, have some nice meals, and just relax under a tree and just watch my team play volleyball. But nope, I was got competitive, played, and then I strained my gastrocnemius. So it's a strain, so hoping it feels better in maybe a few days, maybe next week. So anyways, let's go ahead and start with our warm-up. So let's start by looking left to right over here. Oof. I think I'm gonna get a personal best today on how much sweat I drenched in these classes. I'm already sweating. Up and down. So up and down over here. Keep looking up and down. Just gonna switch my shoes to something else. Alright, we're gonna do neck circles, okay? So let's do some gentle neck circles. Let's rotate. Switch. Give me a thumbs up if you are also in a room that feels like it's 90 degrees. Let's do our snow angels. I just want to know if there's anyone else suffering with me at the moment. So, it felt so nice inside too. I'm not seeing any thumbs up, so I think everyone's a little comfy right now. Alright, I see one thumbs up. Who's suffering with me? Leslie, we'll be okay. Just have some water with you. Someone said go make sure you have water. I completely forgot my water inside, so one of the breaks I'll go in there and get it. Alright, let's do our trunk rotation. So turn gently left to right. So yeah, so last week we had a lot of introductions and learning. Today we're actually doing a workout, okay? So we will be using our chair, our body weight. If you have dumbbells, make sure you go and get those, or at least think about where they are so you could go and grab those, and yoga mat. Okay, so if you have your yoga mat or a beach towel, make sure you go ahead and grab that. Let's do our ab circles, okay? So hinge at the waist. Keep your back straight, come across, come back, and repeat. Alright, if you're in my class tomorrow we have strength and balance. Okay, so this one's strength and conditioning, a little bit more circuit, more active, and tomorrow's still weights, but we slow it down a little bit with our balance movements. Alright, let's go with big giant hula hoops, so wide stance, and then just big giant hip circles. So just exaggerate. Hip circles here. My shirt's already sticking to me. So yeah, so unfortunately because of the strain, I had to remove myself from the upcoming race I had next month. Let's switch. I just feel like I'm gonna be stubborn and push myself and probably injure myself even more if I go through with it. So I just postponed it for next year's event. So it's unfortunate, but it's okay. Alright, let's go ahead. We're gonna do a little bit of balance work. So if you have a counter or a table, we're gonna do a quad stretch. So we're gonna go right above the ankle. You're gonna grab and pull back. And then I'm just using my foam roller here just for support. You could do this without the foam roller if you want to work on your balance, but I'm more concerned of the actual stretch, not the balance component. So again, you want to hold right above your ankle. Okay, don't hold your toes or your midfoot. A lot of people that do this stretch hold their foot, and you could strain some tendons on your foot by doing that. All right, let's go ahead and switch. So again, right above your ankle, pull back. For this class, we are working with equipment, so I probably would recommend shoes. Last thing we want is to drop a dumbbell on our toes. So even if you're wearing shoes and you drop a dumbbell on your toes, you're still gonna feel that, but it's a little layer of protection. Okay. Next, we're gonna go ahead and do our deep squat. So just drop down, torso's upright. Okay. Keep your torso upright, drop your hips as low as you can. And rise. Very good. All right, so last week we did more of we did a speedier workout where we went through several different exercises. I don't think we repeated any of them. So this time we're gonna do sets. So we have 2 exercises, possibly 3, and we're gonna go back and forth until we move on onto the second round. Then we'll move on to another series of exercises, okay? So we might do push-ups, then we might do jumping jacks, and then we might do squats, and then we'll do a second set of those, and then that completes that set. So then we will move on to a new series of exercises, which could be a variety of different movements, okay? So for now, what I'm aiming for this class, I know we had a lot of goals as far as weight loss, getting stronger, improving fitness. So we're gonna add the component of upper body movements, lower body movements, and then a little bit of cardio, okay? So for today, for just as I mentioned, we'll do for upper body, what we're gonna do is grab our dumbbells here. So hopefully everyone has their dumbbells. We are gonna go wide and bring those up and then back down, up and down. Okay, that's gonna work on our pecs. Okay, second movement that we're gonna do, we're gonna go ahead and do a reverse lunge. Okay, so dumbbells at your side, step back, down, and we're gonna alternate. Okay, I understand that sometimes we could have knee issues and that could be a little bit challenging to do. So if we're having some knee issues, instead of the alternating, what you could do is just do a split stance and go up and down, okay? Hopefully that doesn't cause as much pain. And then for our cardio, we're gonna do side step jacks, okay? So if you're a little bit more advanced and you're comfortable with your jumping jacks, go ahead and do jumping jacks. That kind of irritates my calf, so what I'm gonna do for folks that are, at least right now, you could do a side step jack. So you could just step to the side and just keep those arm movements, and we'll do that for 40 seconds, okay? So we have 2 rounds of those. All right, ready? So let's grab those dumbbells. If for some reason you do not have dumbbells, then I need you to get on the floor and do push-ups, okay? It's gonna be pretty challenging to mimic a chest movement without any equipment, but push-ups, you could do that. All right, ready? We start wide, and then we come up shoulder height and back down. So try to follow my same pace. So inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. If you want to do a staggered stance to protect your back a little bit, you can. So again, your palms are facing the screen right now. I'm gonna do 2 more. And last one. Very good. Down. We're gonna go ahead and take about 30 seconds recovery in between lifts. So this is where you grab your water, you take a little break, make sure everything feels smooth. Oh. So our next one's gonna be our static lunge or our reverse lunge, okay? So let me see if they have anything to drink over here. Nothing that looks appealing right now. I have like a protein coffee, a protein soda, I think like sparkling water. I just need regular water. So, all right, so we're gonna go ahead and do our reverse lunges or our static lunges, okay? So it's gonna be a total of 8 on each leg, okay? So if you're doing static, just do 8 on one leg and then move on to the other, okay? But if you're alternating, then just go ahead and continue that alternating. So, ready? So torso's upright, step back, and down, okay? If balance is an issue, what you could do is make your stance a little bit wider, okay? So it doesn't have to be straight back, because if it's straight back, balance could be a little bit challenging, but if you step back and wide, that should offset that balance, okay? So remember, we want to do 8 on each leg. 4, 5, 5, 6, 6, 7, 7, 8, and 8. Very good. All right, 20 seconds rest. We're gonna start with our jumping jacks. Remember, jumping jacks for 40 seconds or step back, side step jacks for 40 seconds, okay? So no equipment for these, just your body. All right, we'll start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go ahead. So I'm gonna go side step jacks. You could do jumping jacks if you like. Okay, so side step jacks, just a little bit more lenient on your calves, but if you're doing jumping jacks, you're gonna burn a little bit more calories. We'll switch up the cardio ones for every set, so we're not doing the same thing all the time, but the list will keep the same. 15 more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, time. Okay, 1 minute rest. Okay, so grab your water. I'm gonna go grab mine. Very good. 15 seconds and we have our underhand arm raises, okay? So again, that target, as long as you go wide, you come up here and squeeze and come back down, you're gonna target your pecs, a little bit of your shoulders. Try to avoid bending your elbows, okay? Once you start bending, you're gonna start making that into a bicep movement, which we're trying to not do at the moment, okay? So, All right, if we're ready, let's go ahead and do 10 to 12 of those. Ready, and begin. So, 1, 2, squeeze. So usually try to squeeze the handle of the dumbbells. Feel a little bit more tension. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm gonna do 2 more. 11 and 12. Very good. 20 seconds rest. We're back to our lunges. Okay. Back to our lunges. This time we could actually, we'll keep it, yeah, let's keep it the same. Yeah, I want to make sure that we're not changing it up like we did last week. We'll switch it up every other week, but we'll keep it the same for this. All right, so now let's go for 10 lunges on each leg. Okay, ready, and begin. So, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5. Try to get those hips down. 6. Hopefully there's no pain. 6, 7, 7, 8, 8, 9, 9, woo, 10, and 10. Woo. Alrighty. Very good. My heart rate's at like 90 heartbeats. Very good. Alright, in about 20 seconds, we're gonna go toes to opposite foot. Okay, so we're just gonna go right here and do that motion constantly. 10 seconds. Good job, everyone. 3, 2, 1. Go, so hands up to opposite foot. Keep it moving. Halfway there. Ten more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Very good. Some water, catch your breath. Okay. Woo. How are you feeling? How are you feeling, Rudy? Jasmine's good.
Little winded, but okay.
All right, yeah. There you go. Alice, very good. Susan, doing okay? Okay. Yeah, I'm sweating. Leslie's good. All right, so our second set, we're moving on to our second round, okay? So our second set, do we want to target, I was going to say this next one's going to be shoulders and biceps, okay? So what we're going to do here, this is going to be a compound movement. So it's going to be a bicep curl and Arnold press plus some squats. So these are called, shoot, I forgot the name. Anyways, we're going to go feet together. You're going to squat low, extend on your way up, come up, and rotate up. Okay, so I'll demonstrate so you know what that looks like. Thrusters, that's the name, thrusters. So we're here, So you see on the way down, my arms extend. On my way up, they come back up and I press. Okay? So that's 3 movements in one. You're getting bicep curls, shoulder press, and squats in one movement. Okay, so your cardio is you're gonna feel that. Okay, then we're gonna go ahead and for our back, I believe we did these last week. We're gonna go ahead, grab one of the weights, and do our good mornings. Okay, so hinging at the hip, coming back, and that's gonna be for our back. Okay, for cardio, we're gonna do curtain closers. Okay, so like what's a curtain closer? So pretty much you're gonna reach to your left, grab the curtain and pull it, and then turn to your left, your right, and then pull. So you're gonna pretty much, it's like a punch and a pull, and you're rotating. Okay, so that's just gonna add a little bit of mobility around the hip joint. Okay, so we're doing those 3 movements for this next set. Okay, all right, thrusters, we're doing 8 to 10 of those. Ready? Grab your dumbbells. All right, and if the squats hurt you, you could just stay with the arm movement. Okay, ready, and begin. So down, up, press, and down, up, press. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 to 10 of these. 7, 8. If you want to stop at 8 for this first round, you can. 9, and last one. Woo! 10. All right. Little break. Good job. Alright, next one is gonna be our good morning. So whatever weight you have, if you have a heavier dumbbell, this is gonna be where we just kind of hold our weight up on our chest, slight bend at the knees, but more of the movements happening here at the hip joint. Okay, so we're just gonna here and then up. Okay, so give me 10 to 12 of those. So this is slow, so slowly down, slowly up. You might feel it on your hamstrings and on your glutes too. Keep your back straight. Keep your eyes looking straight or down. 4, 5. Should take you about 3 seconds to go down and another 3 seconds to rise back up. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right, very good. All right, and if you feel like your equipment's a little bit too light, don't feel bad. You're probably still getting a nice stretch for your back. So as long as we're not getting lazy and rolling our shoulders over, you should be fine. Okay. All right, curtain closers are next. Okay. So as on the first round, we'll switch the cardio one to a second one on the second round. Okay, or a different one on the second round. So remember this one. If you just want to practice real quick, you're gonna churn. So you're churning and pushing. So look at my feet. My feet don't go anywhere. They just kind of rotate. Boom, boom. Okay. So all the movements happening right here. So if you feel like you're throwing a punch and then pulling, okay? 3, 2, 1, go. You could go as fast as you want for this one. For the cardio one, just don't get dizzy on me. We're at 10 seconds, we're going for 40. We're at 25 seconds. Keep it moving. Five, four, three, two, one. Time. All right. 1 minute rest, and we're back to doing the thrusters. Okay. Any questions right now? Any concerns? Are we okay? All right, ready? Jasmine, you're good. I think Jasmine, you do this every day, huh, Jasmine? Alice, how are we doing, Alice?
Good. But I have a quick question.
Sure.
When we do these exercises, is there a breathing that goes with it, or can we just breathe on our own? Whatever
Yes.
comfortable
So
for us?
as I was mentioning last week, most things, especially for the cardio part, it's gonna happen more naturally, whatever you're comfortable with. You might just lose some energy, and sometimes, just your the movement can be affected by just focusing a little bit too much. So for the cardio portion, I would say go more with how you breathe naturally. Now for lifts, think about if you have a weight, if you're going away from your body, like here, or here, if you're opening up, think about your lungs opening up. So that's where you want to inhale, okay, and then, no, hold on. So, no, sorry. When you're opening up, you want to exhale. I'm sorry. And then when you come in, that's when you inhale, okay? So,
Okay.
exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale. So anytime that you come in, you're inhaling, you're taking in the air, okay?
Okay.
So.
Okay. I mean, when you bend down, with
Yeah,
the
so
thumb-
same thing. So if you're here,
Uh-huh.
so right here, we're kind of upright. So when you're closing, so when you're going back to that reset position, so the original spot that you started, that should be the end of an inhale. So exhale, inhale. Okay, exhale, inhale. Right here, we're exhaling, inhaling, and then exhaling, right? So, because it's a different movement there. So you just gotta think when you are kind of need a little bit more support, you should also keep your trunk and your torso a little bit tighter. So just try to brace yourself too. And that's usually gonna happen, usually on like the way to an exhale. Because let's say you're doing a shoulder press and it's really heavy. If you're inhaling as it's really heavy, you're gonna collapse. So you wanna exhale, right? So think about maybe you went on the bench press machine. As you're pressing away from you, you're exhaling too. So that's usually how it's done. As we're going away from the body, exhaling. All right, let's do our second set of thrusters. Good questions. Ready? 8 to 10 of these, and begin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Very good. Ooh. Anytime you're moving or lifting for an entire minute, those get challenging, so. All right. So next is the good mornings. So again, grab your weights. I'm gonna try 2 dumbbells, both dumbbells on this one. The thing with holding 2 dumbbells is just make sure that it's safe and you have a nice grip on them. So, ready? 10 of those, and begin. So, 1. If you bend your knees a little bit more on these, you might feel it more on your hamstrings than on your glutes. But the more straight your knees are, your legs are, you'll feel it more on your back. 9, and 10. All right, very good. Alrighty. So next for our cardio, we're gonna do bunny hops. Okay, so these, personally, I'm gonna skip and just do calf raises, and even then, I'm gonna be careful because of my injury. But bunny hops, just think about doing the skips or the jumps that you would do when you're jump roping, right? So you would kind of just be, yeah, just right there. So I'm doing those, but putting all my weight on my left one. If for some reason that's too much, what you could do, that's activating the calf muscles and your heart, you're pumping, so your cardio. But if that's too much, you could just do calf raises, okay? So heels up, heels down. All right, and you're still getting the muscular benefit, but you're missing out on the cardio portion, if that makes sense, okay? We're doing these for 40 seconds. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go. So again, if you could do the bunny hops, I feel like a boxer because I'm doing all my weight just on one side. I may as well just do this right now because that's really what I'm doing. So I'm gonna stop though because that does not feel great on my legs. But keep it going. Still have another 23 seconds. There you go, Rudy, Jasmine. Good job, Susan. I know everyone else is still moving, staying active. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time. Okay. So let's take a minute break. I think we have time for one more set of 3 movements, okay? So just keep that in mind. Whew. Get some water. We did bicep curls. We still need to do triceps. So for this one, we'll go ahead and do these. Alright, so for triceps, I'll give you a few options, okay? So triceps, this might be the most challenging one if you just use a chair for tricep dips. So again, I'll give the option for dumbbells. So you would use the chair, make sure it doesn't slide behind you, and you just go up and down, okay? If you want to make it a little bit more challenging, you would stretch out your legs, and that makes it more challenging, okay? Now, for the dumbbells, you could do an overhead tricep extension. I believe we did this last week in Mammoth. So, dumbbells over your head, but behind, and we're here, elbows are in, and extend, and down, okay? That's gonna work out the triceps. So you use the chair or use the extensions for the dumbbells, all right? Next, for our legs or lower body, we're gonna do a sumo squat with the leg lift, okay? So this is also gonna count as our cardio because it's an active movement. So you're gonna do a prisoner stance, so just hands behind your head, wide stance, and this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna squat and then lift, down, lift, okay? So we're getting a little bit of hip mobility on that lift. Some adductors are working, and that squat is targeting our glutes and our hamstrings, okay? So that's gonna be the 2 movements that we do for this one, all right? Yeah, that should get our cardio going. Or do you wanna do a third one? Give me a thumbs up if you wanna add another movement. I see another movement. Some people are like, no more. So, all right, yeah, Rudy. So I'll have a third movement for those that want to participate, and that's gonna be an inchworm. So it's just a modified burpee. So this one, for those that want to do another one, I'll give you another one. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead for this one. You're gonna come down, come into a hand plank, get into a high plank, and then come up and jump, and then repeat. Okay, so that's gonna be an inchworm. Alright, that's gonna be your third movement. So again, if you don't want to do that one, you could skip that one, but that one's gonna get your heart pumping a little bit more. Alright, so let's go ahead and do our triceps. So dumbbell extensions, tricep extensions, or your dips with the chair. Okay, so give me 10 to 12. Alright, go at your own pace for these. I think people are doing different movements, so whatever you're comfortable with. I'm gonna do this because the fan's right on my face on this one. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 to 12, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Whew. Very good. Next is going to be our sumo squats with the leg lift. Right, for that one, we're going to do 6 on each side, so a total of 12 squats. Okay. So remember, prisoner stance, so hands behind your head, wide stance, and begin. Squat, and then lift, squat, lift. So 6 on each side for a total of 12. 4. Keep your torso upright. 5. Keep that core engaged. 6. And 6. Woo. All right. Okay. If you want to do cardio but you don't want to do those inchworms, feel free to do any of the cardio ones we did earlier. Jumping jacks, side step jacks. But if you're going to do the inchworms, all right, let's get this going. Ready? We're going to do 8 of those. Ready? And begin. So get into like a push-up position. And then you come back up and jump. 1. 2. 3. 4. 5. Woo. We'll stop when we reach 8. 6. 7. And 8. Very good. All right, one last round, and then we'll call it. Okay, so take your 40 seconds rest right now. Oof. All right, our last set, we're doing our dips. Okay, so again, so tricep extensions or the bench dips. Ready? And go at your own pace again, but give me 8 to 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. All right, we have our sumo squats with the leg lift. And then just make sure we're close to that 250 mark. So the cool down, just do some stretches, go for a little walk around your hallway. Just try to relax your heart. Just don't go ahead and stop completely. You'll cramp up and you'll probably have a bad time. So try to do a little bit of stretching once we're done. All right, so Here we go, prisoner squat. Ready, and begin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Whew. All right. If anyone wants to stretch with me for a little bit, you're more than welcome to. If you want to do your last set of inchworms, then I'll get you started, or if you want to do jumping jacks. So I know, Jasmine, you're doing your inchworms. You're ready. I could tell by your stance. Jasmine's like, you guys ready? Like starting her time. All right, so let's do that last set of inchworms, or anyone that's doing their cardio. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go. Jasmine, you're making me work. I was ready to stretch, and now I can't just see you folks working out, and I'm here. There you go, Rudy. Keep it going. I'm at 3. If I just stretch, Rudy, you're gonna be telling everyone, yeah, my professor stretches and I was working out. So I can't have those conversations going around. 7, one more. Woo! All right. Good job. High five. Good job, Jasmine, Rudy, Susan. Yeah, I was ready to quit, Jasmine. Good job. All right, folks, so I'll stick around for a couple minutes if you just want to do some chair stretches with me. If you want to sign off because you need to, go for it. But I'm just going to try to bring my heart rate down a little bit. I don't like the feeling of just stopping, because then you still sweat for like another 10 or 15 or 20 minutes. So whatever stretches you like, go for it. I'm going to do my piriformis stretch. It's one of my favorite stretches. But good work. Right here. Whew. My watch has me at burning about 180 calories right now for that workout. So I feel like I'm sweating more than that, but gentle push down if you're doing the same stretch as I am. And if you're with me tomorrow morning, we go at 9 a.m. So tomorrow, don't expect any jumping jacks or any cardio. It's just gonna be lifts and balance exercises. Okay, so tomorrow's a little bit slower. This is the kind of like the most active class that I teach here at Irvine. So, and we'll get more fit as we continue to do more workouts. So, we can make this class as challenging or as, as easy as you want to make it. So just keep that in mind. In case you have one of those days where your energy level is not there, don't feel like you have to skip the class. You could still do something for your energy level for that day.
Jasmine's not going to make this class easy.
I know. I could tell. There's some semesters where I actually gain weight because it's so easy. I don't think this is gonna be the case.
Thanks, Jasmine.
Yeah. We'll switch. So
I'm not gonna work out later. That's why I wait to use.
There you go. Every other week we'll switch between Jasmine and I teaching the class. So gentle push down. Let's bring that.
That was a good workout.
Yeah. So
That's good.
And remember, if at some point things feel a little bit easy for some of the movements, just slow the movement down, and that I guarantee it's going to get harder. But if that's even you can't make it any harder than what it is, then you probably need a little bit heavier equipment. So just keep that in mind. I'm just going to do trunk rotations. So just gentle stretch on my back. So grabbing the chair, the seat, and the backrest. Just a gentle stretch. And let's switch. All right, folks, that does it. I'll try to save a few more minutes next time, so I'll just come either